What the fuck? What is up, everybody? It is I, Corey, the Jackinator Marco, back with Season 8, Episode 3 of the Dodcast. It's week 3. We gotta predict Anzio. We gotta recap Railyard. I do know what I'm seeing up on the screen right now. I don't know, there's some kind of a weird glitchy delay thing happening when I first clicked record, so that was not intentional, but something got fucked up. We, of course, have to watch the frag of the week. We got to try to make this episode not be unbelievably fucking long, but that's going to be easier said than done. I leave for Buffalo in like a few hours. So, yeah, if there's any problems, worst case scenario, I will just re-record this in Buffalo when I actually have my camera and my good microphone. Because I hate wearing headphones while I do this. It just gets to be annoying after a while, you know? All right. So let's start off with the frag of the week. I am an idiot, and so I did not submit to the frag of the week this time because we had our match at, 9:30, I think, on Monday night, and then I had to wake up at 2 for my train to come here, and I didn't really think about the fact that, then I won't get back until Friday night after the frag of the week is already done. So, yeah, didn't get to submit, but people did. So we're going to find out which people and what kind of clips they got. As always, War Within, one clutch man. I gotta move my camera so I can read the names down there. Stark. Nice. Ooh. Is that a 4-kill spray down? Maybe it was just 3? That's Hopper, yep. I knew it was Hopper. That's why it looked like that. Oh my god, he got 3 bar snipes. In the stream, it looked like he was spraying based on how long and he was looking at him, but he was just taking his time to aim. This must have been before I got into this cast, I think. I assume that's how they capped out. Johnny. Oh, he missed a texture there. No. Now I'm tilted. I think there's one missing on the ground there as well. Brandon. The rest of it looks great, though. Oh, I think there's one missing on the fountain there, too. We got Rye here. Attaboy. Oh, yeah, we saw that. That was a fucking sick break. They needed that. In a 2-point game, obviously. Cody. Nice. Killing Leo is worth its weight in gold in this game, too. I like that underpass texture a lot. Oh yeah, here we go. True action. You know he's always gonna be good for a fucking crazy one. Oh my god. Yeah. Fucking fast 4K for Kron. Okay, Hopper. Seen another one? Oh, okay, it was rewinding. Nice. Short, sweet, and to the point, baby. Short, sweet, and to the point. I like it. All right. Let me get this shit out of the way. Let me get this shit open. Season 8. Okay. I'm all out of sorts today. Obviously, since I'm not at home. Let me boop, boop, boop. Nope. Nope. Maybe. Whatever. Okay. So starting off, we got to recap some shit. Let's recap some shit. Let's get some scores. Okay. Thanks to Bullet, we can just scroll back up here as well. Oh, that's also, good point. We're going to start off with this. So right off the bat, Rifle Nades versus the Ninja. This was an interesting one. This is from week 1, technically. So this game kind of threw off the whole cast schedule for the rest of the day because it took the Ninja a while to get a 6th. Illusion was not there. Aim Tech definitely was not there. And because of that, going into this game, once it finally started, I was like, this is probably going to be a pretty big blowout win here for Rifle Nades. But in fact, it wasn't really. Ninja, with all their Call of Duty players, they ended up getting Saber in there, and they won the first half, and they were winning up until, I think, like 5 minutes left. They were winning this match, which is very impressive and says everything that needs to be said, I think, about the potential of this team. If they can keep a consistent 6 on it, especially then if you add Illusion into the mix, who's obviously a really good player. Because, Rifle Nades is a great team. This team is going to be tough for everybody in bronze. And coming out in this game, like I said, the pressure was really, I guess, on the Ninja without Illusion there, and they responded very well. So, first half, it was 201 to 136 for the Ninja. On the Allied side, kills were dead even, but Arachnid lagged out, so he was only 6 and 4 there. Obviously, they actually win the kill battle, if not for that. Actually, you can kind of see. Let's see. So that's 171 deaths. So you figure he probably had another at least. It's 20 kills there, but there's possible, TKs, suicides, whatever. On the Rifle Nade side, 37 for Azil, of course. That's not a surprise if you've been paying attention throughout KTP. Azil is nuts. That's not surprising. 29 for Chrono, 29 for Boom. Chrono, again, I suspect will be just dominating as the season goes on. 26 on Firo, 24 for Henry, and then, like I said, 6 on Arachnid, but that's not a real 6. It's probably closer to 25 or something like that. And then on to Ninja's side, you had 33 for Bestia. He was playing out of his mind. Honestly, he was a big reason why they had the lead after the first half. He had a lot of multi-kills all over apartments and breaking double caps and stuff. So good on Bestia there. 30 for Saber. Really, it's the bars, right? 63 kills between the two of them. And then 29 on Woody. Woody was getting a lot of multi-kills on the Grand, man. Woody looks great. Really, all the Call of Duty players looked better than I could have really expected them to. In their first fucking competitive DoD match going against a team. While they are technically all Source players, they have a lot of experience in this game. Chrono alone, probably if you took all of his 1.3 match experience, would add up to more than just about every other player in the server combined, besides Miller, maybe Saber, right? Chrono's played a lot of 1.3. We know Arachnid and Azil have played a lot of 1.3. So, really cool to see the guys on the Ninja playing in their first competitive game. And I extra can't wait to see what it looks like in, week 7, week 8, the playoffs. They're going to be fucking very fun to watch. But yeah, 33 for Bestia, 30 for Saber, 29 for Woody, 26 for Miller, 18 for Verb, and 15 for Steve. Steve is on the Tommy gun there, but he was on the sniper for most of the half. I think at that point they were just really trying to work in another cap out. Then second half, 227 to 182, plus 32 in the kill total for Rifle Nades. And like I said, the Ninja was they were winning this game up until the last, I think it was either 4 or 5 minutes. One of the two. It was really impressive. I was supposed to leave to go to another cast. It was Best Buds versus Clinic, I think. And then Icy Hot versus G-Skill, obviously, and I ended up being even like just a couple minutes late to the actual match time of G-Skill Icy Hot. Luckily, though, I didn't actually miss anything, but that's how long, well, okay, so there's a huge delay, but that's how long the Ninja was still in this game. And then once Rifle Nades got going and broke through, like it was just rolling downhill, you know? But yeah, for the Ninja, 38 on Miller. What a half for him on the car. He was all over the place. He was, again, on this half, trying to like do everything humanly possible to keep the boys in it. Bestia with 25. Woody with 24. He also looked good on the car. You know, all these guys just getting match experience, scrim experience, 12 mans, everything like that is going to show you improvement that's tangible week in and week out. Saber, Steve, and Verbal with 18. And then on the Rifle Nade side, again, 36 for Azilla, 75 kills for him, or whatever it was 75 or 73? 73. Just what a game for him, as always. We've come to expect this. Boom with 34, Chrono with 33. The heavies were on fire, of course, on the Allied side. Arachnid 28 and 19, and then 21 apiece for Firo and Henry, and Rifle Nades get out of there with the win. Very, very important win to get. They were obviously the favorite team, and they did end up doing what we all expected them to do in this game. They took the scenic route, but I mean, the Ninja, I got to reevaluate, like, I think what my thought process was and how possible it was going to be for them to win games against these teams early in the season. Like, they easily could have won this game. Easily. They really took it to the wire. So, very, very impressive first game out of the Ninja. Big first win for Rifle Nades there. Now, let's move on to some Railyard. So keeping it in the Ninja camp here, this was the second game that they had to play. This one was on Railyard. This was against Nogo. As you can see there, Nogo 361 to 38 over the Ninja, which is kind of crazy when you think about that in just the context of the Bronze Division. What were those scores there? Holy shit, Illusion had 47 kills on allies. God damn. God damn. I'm guessing he lagged out sometime in this half. 16 and 15 there. But yeah, obviously you look at, we saw No-Go lose to Rodeo, right? And then we saw the Ninja looking really good against Rifle Nades, and then we see No-Go now beating up on the Ninja in this game score-wise. And then we know that Rodeo lost their game this week. It's just like the Bronze Division is so totally up in the air. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. There's the Uncle Rico's versus Rodeo score there. Uncle Rico's might be the ones heading into the second quarter of the season, looking like the main favorites in bronze as it stands right now, but we'll see how things shake out in that regard. All right, so first half Allied side. That's actually crazy because I was just talking about how I think this map, it turned out, at least in the gold division, and maybe I would say overall, I think Axis-sided. But little bit of a different story here, obviously, for the Ninja. Like, it's really these guys' second match, and it happened directly after their first match. So maybe not the best thing to add to the sample here in that regard. I do think the map plays Axis-sided overall. But for the Ninja here, 233 to 1, 192 to 132 are the kills there for No-Go's favor. On the Ninja side, Bestia with 33, 19 for Woody, 19 for Steve, 18 for Verb. Oh, sorry, 20. I didn't even realize Miller was there. 27 for Miller was number 2. Then it was 19s. Then it was 18 for Verb. 16 for Illusion, but he clearly lagged out. And on the No-Go side, 49 kills for Craig. Spoon is back on the menu, boys. Wow. Just another dominating half for him there. 49 kills on the bar. 33 for Cushy, the sleep paralysis demon. Right back at it, putting up numbers. 31 for Koi, and Koi playing regularly. Now, that's a scary thought, really, I think, for the Bronze Division. Koi, a guy who was an invite player forever, right? The thing is, up until now, he was never really playing. Like, if he played, it was like one match out of the season randomly, not really scrimming or anything like that. But now, even if it's just playing matches after the LAN where he played a lot of DOD in a 3-day span or whatever, that could result in a very scary no-go team, as you can see just based on this, right? 30 for Jamie, another guy who played an invite forever. Like, this is a scary team here. And then 26 for Quarter, 23 for Dedro. Really, really dominating half there for no-go. And on to the second half. They do still win this half, but by 91, it looks like. Plus 34 in the kill total. On to the Ninja side, as I said earlier, 47 for Illusion is just an insane half there for him, too. Oh my god, Spoon hit 45 again this half as well. So what's that? 94 kills. I think still came up just short on Leo, though. I think Leo at 95. I could be wrong, though. 33 for Bestia, 26 for John, 19 for Steve, 13 apiece for Verb and Woody. And then on the no-go side, 45 for Spoon, 42 for Cushy as well. These guys looking to co-MVP for the season, maybe? Because, wow, they're going off already. Then 38 on Dedro on the Unter. I'm wondering if he Untered 4-way or if he Untered long. It could go either way, honestly. I mean, I had to play the Unter 4-way by myself in the match, and I could definitely see being able to get a lot of kills. I couldn't. I was busy just getting killed by everybody, but I could see it working to get a lot of kills. 21 for Quarter and Jamie, 18 for Koi, and yeah, just a big dub here for no-go. I did not see this game, so I have no idea exactly how it went down, but 361 to 38 is obviously a huge win on Railyard, getting them back on the winning side of things after a tough loss in the first week. That is the same game. Okay, so this, I believe, is the other bronze one, right? I do believe. Okay, there we go, yeah. So this is the Uncle Rico versus Rodeo game. This is, I think, going to be a very telling game in regards to how the bronze division just might play out here. So, as you can see, it's a 32-point win for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. I did not get to see this game. From what G said in the chat, Rodeo was pushing hard to cap out and win this thing, but Uncle Rico was able to hang on in the end. So it looks like this is first half. Allied side here for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. They win 63 to 30. They have more frags by 16. On the Rodeo side, Sir Snipeys with 35 kills there. Very nice half for him. I'm not surprised, right? This is a good map for snipers, and I feel like for Snipeys in particular, this would be a good one because it simplifies things. You have this loft that you want to go to. It's very, very powerful. You don't have to roam around too much. You don't have to think too much. Go into this loft. The sniper loft to deal with is over there. They're going to drop on the white steps. They can come here. Like, just your good aim and reactions are going to do most of the work for you here. And you can see 35 and 25, a great performance for him. CK with 30 kills there. 29 for LASIK right behind him, kicking right behind them at 28, 18 for Yarrow, 17 for Nick, and on Uncle Rico's Time Machine side, we did see ST Kevin there in the frag of the week putting up a crazy clip against them, and he had 43 kills in the half. Just a dominant, yet again, dominant heavy performance for Stark here. He might be on track to be the MVP of bronze if things continue to play out in favor of Uncle Rico's Time Machine, because right now he's putting up just obscene frag totals week in and week out. After that, you had 30 on G on the other bar, 29 on Nick on the sniper, 27 for Kevin. He always ends up with a 7 in his name, so I can rhyme it like that. 24 for Ian playing his rookie. I love seeing that throwback. That's fucking sick. And then Zamp with 20 getting in there this week. And this was on Thunder Chicago. So technically, I probably do have the HLTV for this game. Shit. I don't have it here because I don't have the FTP info here though. So, but maybe I can in some downtime, throw this cast on at some point. All right, so second half, wow, it was a 1-point victory here for Rodeo in this half. Doesn't look like there was any cap outs in that one. There's probably one here for Uncle Rico, and then none here. 33-32, very close score. That's actually crazy. +8 kill total there for Uncle Rico. You had 34 for CK, 30 for Yarrow, 27 for Nick, 26 for Lasik, 23 for Snipies, 22 for Kickin', and on Uncle Rico's side, 33 for Kevin, 32 for Kevin. There we go. Kevin only can play with Kevins. There's always going to be another Kevin around, it turns out. Which is cool with me. I love it. 29 for other Nick. Had like a hole in this case, not E-Man. 27 for Zamp, 25 for G, 24 for Ian. And yeah, I mean, this win is very, very important here. Obviously, until Uncle Rico plays against No-Go and Rifle Nades, we won't know exactly where it shakes out. But, you know, right now they're looking like, I mean, I think they're 2-0. They're probably the only 2-0 team left. Yeah. Everyone else has a loss, at least one loss. There's still some games to be played here. The Wickeds has to play Rifle Nades. That was supposed to be that Sunday night, but because of the delay and everything, ended up not working out. But yeah, very, very big W for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. I really need to cast one of their games, and I might be able to just cast this one when I'm back in Buffalo through the HLTV, because it's a pretty close game. Honestly, like this half being 33-32, I would guess that maybe even mid didn't get capped for a while. Like the mid might have been a stalemate for a minute in that game for that score to have ended up being the way it was. But we'll see if we can manage to cast that when things are all said and done. All right, so on to Silver. This was a game that we casted. This was, in my opinion, was going to be the match of the week, but we had basically one guy decide, no, this is my match of the week, Leo's match of the week, and one of the most dominating individual performances that we have seen in KTP, quite possibly the highest frag total that we have seen in a KTP. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Let me qualify that. The highest frag total in a game with two evenly matched teams. Because we've seen some instances where, like, scores have gotten just run up in dominating wins of, like, 1,000-point game. We've seen that a couple times. We've seen guys break 100 in games like that, especially during seasons where silver and bronze were not split up. Right, so like the teams that we see in bronze right now, we're actually still having to play against these kinds of silver teams. So I'm going to qualify it in that regard. When it comes to two evenly matched teams, where if you looked at the two lineups, you would go, yeah, I could see either team winning that game. I think this is probably a record for kills in KTP in that regard, because Leo had 56 on Axis. I thought he was going to break 60 for sure. He had like 2 minutes left, and he was at 53, but then he died a couple lives in a row without getting one. And then 39 on Allies, 95 kills overall is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So that was the big story of this game. Breaking it down a little further, I honestly, coming into this game, had no idea who was going to win. I thought this was a coin flip game. I believe I did end up going with Price is Right. I did a coin flip, well, a Zin flip. And then I also added the caveat that when I flipped the coin while it was in the air, my head said, like, you know what, I'm thinking Band of Morons here, something about... So I guess just listen to the Zin, because in the end, Price is Right wins. I did not need to think about it any further than that. Obviously, some missing players on both sides here. No Pibian on the Price is Right side. No Nicholson on the other side. I'm not sure who Nicholson would be in for potentially here. Obviously, it's a really good team on Band of Morons. As those guys play together more and more, you know, this is a team where this is the worst that they're going to play all season, is in these first couple weeks. As they play together more and more, this team's only going to get stronger, and they have a lot of lineups that they can mix and match based on map, class, whatever. So if I'm them, I wouldn't be too concerned about this game. It's early days. They are still one of the favorites in the division. This game doesn't change anything about that. Sometimes you just got to go up against the God game, and they sure did in this one. So first half, 175 to 19 on the Axis side. As I said, I would say this map plays Axis sided overall now. On the Band of Morons side, 35 for James. He was sniping, and he looked great. He was doing everything he could to keep Band of Morons in this game. So in that regard, like, they were missing Darren, yeah, but I think James did as good or better as you could ever ask a sniper to do on this map in this situation too. So, it's just one of those things. He looked great. He looked great. 26 for Drew, 22 for Insight, 21 for Cody, 20 for Guillermo, and 19 for Fetty. And on the Price is Right side, the big 56 for Leo, and nobody else broke 30 in this half. Nobody else even broke 30. 29 for Caleb, 27 for Kellen, 26 for Corey, 23 for Tony, 20 for Trance, and nearly doubling anyone else in the server in kills in that half of Leo. I mean, he was basically like every time he was alive getting 3 kills. It was insanity. I don't know. Just go watch the game. Go watch the cast, or if you have the HLTV or whatever, just go watch it, because it's wild. I was hoping he would submit to Frag of the Week, but he didn't, obviously. We just watched it. Second half, 53 to 18 in favor of Price is Right here. Band of Morons actually did win the frag battle here by 18. James, again, 43 kills on the sniper rifle, just playing great. That's the nice thing with him, right? You can put him on any class, and he will be able to put up numbers like this. Lots of versatility. That's the thing with this Band of Morons team, too. It's so versatile what they can do with their lineups. It's just a question, I guess, of figuring out what's the best one each match, each matchup, each map, etc. That's a question for them to have to, I guess, answer every week, which could be kind of frustrating and annoying when you get it wrong. Or if there's some kind of debate going on in the team about, like, maybe you should play this class. No, I'd rather play this class. And then you end up losing the game. Like, it's not a guaranteed advantage to have. There's certainly pitfalls to it, but I'd always rather have, I'm somebody who's made a whole DoD career off of versatility and kind of being able to play any class at a high level, right? So for me, I always prefer to have that versatility, but sometimes it can also bite you in the ass because you overthink things. In this case, James was definitely on the right class this week with 43, 78 kills overall. If not for Leo, like, we'd all be talking about how that was such a massive standout performance. It's just, and it is. It's just Leo also had so many fucking kills. Then Drew, who we saw with that fast 4K in the frag of the week. I missed it in the cast. It was a live cast, so I couldn't go back and do an instant replay. Also, we were too busy paying attention to Leo trying to get to 100 kills, but that was a crazy clip from Crowd, of course. What do you expect? It's Crowd. Baron with 27, 26 apiece for Cody and Cass, 24 for Insight. And then on the Price is Right side, again, top frag for Leo, 39, 95 kills overall. Again, and somebody out there can tell me, I'm sure. Here's the thing, though. If you're going to tell me, somebody got more kills, I'm going to need to see the screenshots of who was playing in those games so that I can go, okay, yeah, those are pretty evenly matched teams. Because otherwise, I'm just going to say, okay, this guy did this against this team. Yeah, that's not really the same thing as Leo doing it against Band of Morons here. I'm sorry. It's just not. Unless I see the screenshots and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's actually like a game that is relatively competitive. Even like this score isn't competitive. I'm not saying like the game has to have been close. I'm just saying like the team that more than 95 kills had to have come against. You got to be able to look at it and be like, okay, that wasn't just like, shitting on a team that you have one player is just gonna run out and roll over. That's a very different story than what Leo did in this game. Not comparable in my opinion. And I'm sure everybody on both teams would agree with that. This is just another level of performance with how evenly matched on paper these two teams are. And I'm sure it will reflect that in the standings and come playoff time. Leo just made it look easy this week. So, some guys have fucking good games. Leo's not going to go out there and drop 95 every week, but unfortunately for Band of Morons, he did this week. 32 for Corey as well, having a good game. 30 for Kellen. Wait a second. When was I talking about Kellen Carb? Oh, that was in the World Series of DoD. I was going to say, I was talking about Kellen getting 90 kills, but then I was like, was it in this game? For a second, I thought I like missed something in the first half there, but I think it was the LAN that I saw him get 90 kills on a few days ago. Yeah. It was on Harrington versus the Leftovers. Lots of DOD. I'm constantly fucking watching DOD. 26 for Caleb, 19 for Tony, 17 for Trance. Huge win for Price is Right. I think that I don't think I would ever expect that they would win this convincingly if they played this game out 100 times. Like this was the big time. The biggest product of this was Leo dropping 95 kills and being borderline uncounterable. I think if you play this game 100 times, you would see a much closer score than this, like 90 times. Regardless of who wins, it's just Leo MVP of the week. I can say that pretty confidently. Stark would have to be up there in a pretty close game against the Rodeo as well. But that performance was just fucking monstrous performance. Okay, where's the next silver game? Was there another one that I didn't cast? I don't think so. There is a makeup game this week, Clan X versus Expired. I went through. I'll show that later. Let's not get sidetracked right now. Okay, so here's another one. Emo Frag Squad versus Volvo. This was an interesting one. 216 to 95 for Emo Frag Squad. Right off the bat now, Volvo was missing Toki. That's a very tough loss to have for anybody, for that team on this map. No Toki in the sniper, which meant that, Yanni was then sniping, which takes him off of another class where he can be really good and mobile, right? So it's a whole domino effect. However, the way that things played out here, I'm not sure it would have mattered in the win-loss column because Emo Frag Squad, I think we might have witnessed a team figure it out live, which is crazy. You don't see that happen too much. We saw it happen with like Icy Hot over the seasons for sure. We saw it happen with PMC. There's sometimes you just see like that game where things click for the team and they figure it out together. I think we saw it with DICE even in Season 6, although I think they were playing really well right from the start. But this was one of those things in the first half. You can see here Volvo wins, but this probably should have been an even bigger blowout. It was really just J-Rod and Modgers decided they weren't going to lose this half by more. We got into the HLTV with like 13 minutes left in the first half, and Volvo was already winning like 40-3 or something like that. And then for the rest of that half, we saw J-Rod go on a 14-kill streak, end up with 50 kills, him and Matt with 85 kills between the two of them, basically outfragging just basically any other 3 players in the server combined, which is just crazy. J-Rod was just a man on a mission. He would be the other MVP candidate of this week, as you can see there with 82 kills. His performance on that Allied side to make this game as close as it was for this half was wild to watch. The 14 kill streak in particular, he had it was 14 kills and then 7 of them were fast, back to back, pushing apartments up to the sniper hole and dark hall area. But yeah, 58-49, they outfragged by 39, right? Which is mostly in the bars there because they just fucking tuned it up for the last 10 minutes of the half. On the Volvo side, 28 for King Yo, including that streak we saw on the frag of the week, 27 for Manor, 26 for Yanni, 25 for Wua, 19 for Scotty, 15 for Sean Luke, and then on the Emo Squad side, 50 for J-Rod, 35 for Matt, 27 for Ian, 26 for Steve, 21 for Apple, 20 for Saf. This half could have gotten out of hand with the way things were going. Volvo just was playing really, really well, really solid, and were in control and got a cap out. And then J-Rod decided he'd had enough, and he went full plus W and stopped missing for the rest of the half. That's really the story. Him and Matt had the kill totals, and, Ian's right there, obviously, but the story was really just J-Rod running forward, killing everything that moved. And then you come out into the second half, right? So here's the thing. J-Rod did that and Matt did that, but they still didn't look great. They were still losing control of the things that they had unnecessarily, right? Once their heavies died, it was kind of oh shit, we lost everything now. However, in the second half, out of nowhere, it was like watching dice play. Probably like 8 to 10 minutes into the half, it was like something just clicked. And all of a sudden, all the big gaping holes that they were leaving all over the place, they were kind of like running around, just playing without their brains and getting flanked. And the other team was just consistently finding holes in the defense and able to flank and regain mid control, grab other flags. But it just clicked right when it started to look like Volvo was going to win this game. I mean, I was saying it in the cast, like, oh man, it doesn't look like, Emo Squad is able to hold on to the control they get when they get it. And then it was like they heard that and something just clicked. Like they just figured it out as a team in that moment. And all of a sudden, they were playing that brand of crazy, gold tier DoD that we've seen out of teams like DICE and G-Skill and ICOD and Thunder and stuff, where there's constant movement, but there's never a gap. That's the thing. Anybody can run around the map like psychos. It's being able to do it in a cohesive team manner. And Emo was doing that. Whether they, whatever it was that clicked for them, whether it was just individually, they all figured it out, or somebody was taking the reins communication-wise, or whatever, they started playing incredibly well. Like it was wild to watch the way things turned like that. And all of a sudden, what was happening 3 minutes ago, where there would be 3 kills for each team, and then a Volvo guy would sneak through underpass or sneak through 4-way and get a multi-kill, and just like that, the map would go in their favor. Now it was okay, 3 kills would go in each direction, and then when Volvo tried to find the hole, somebody was there waiting, and now that person on Emo Squad actually got a multi-kill. It was just wild. All right, so for the half, 130-point win for Emo Squad, plus 60 in the kills. On the Volvo side, you had 30 for Manor, 26 for Yanni, 20 for Kingyo, 20 for Scott, 19 for Wua, 16 for Sean. And on the Emo Squad side, another massive half by a heavy here, Bodgers with 47 kills. He was really doing the Lord's work over on the White Steps first flag area. If not for the plays that he was making over there, this game would definitely be closer, because Emo wouldn't have been able to work a cap out at all. It can be really tough to get a cap out on that map. Even though there's that second route on a ticket, you basically have to catch the other team forgetting about it for that route to matter that much. You really need a team wipe in a lot of instances, or get a guy out that door to play distraction, stay alive, basically, make at least a couple of the other guys fight you, so that then there's not as many eyes looking at the guy coming through the ticket doors and the connector and stuff and going for the prone dive. But yeah, Matt was just locking down White Steps. 47 and 17 for him, 36 and 14 for Ian, 32 for J-Rod, 31 for Apple, 24 for Steve, 21 for Saf. Big win for Emo Squad. And yeah, the Silver Division might need to put Emo Squad on the watch list now, because that team looked very scary in the back half of that game. Holy fuck. Well-oiled machine, and with their heavies playing like that, I mean, heavies in this game, in this day and age, are the toughest class to come by when it comes to being a really X-factor, go out and dominate a game. And that pairing of heavies just might be the best one in Silver, based on the way that they played in that game. Obviously there's a lot of good heavy teams, but just the way that they looked in that game, who's going to stop that? That was nearly 90 kills for each of the heavies there. That's crazy. Okay. I think up next we have the biggest game of the week here in Silver. Best Buds beats Clinic 158 to 156. This was a crazy, crazy back and forth game here. I picked Clinic. This is actually the first ever regular season loss for my boys over at Clinic. It's by 2 points. Such a close game. Fucking props to Best Buds, man. They played out of their minds. This was such a fun game to cast. I got to do it with the HLTV. So in the first half, it was 85 to 78, a 7-point win for Clinic here. Kills plus 13 for them. Piff had 30 kills for Best Buds, 29 for War on the Brom Bomb, 24 for Hopper, 22 for Bobby, 17 for Big Bird. On the Clinic side, 35 for Tom, played so good. 32 for Scott, he also was all over the place. 29 for Vic, 28 for Sam, 20 for Alan, 20 for Insom. 7-point lead after the first half. It looked good for Clinic. And then, again, for Best Buds here, it was kind of like something just clicked along the way, and they just really made it near impossible for Clinic to fully establish mid-control and hang on to it for long. There was a couple moments, man, where Clinic just about capped out. We're so close to things going their way, and ended up walking away with this win by, I guess it'd be like 38 with a cap out. So close. But Best Buds, man, a team that's played together a lot now. Obviously, majority of them getting ready for the LAN together and going to the LAN together. This is a very good team, and this is a huge win to put on the resume. The only loss for Clinic ever in the Silver Division in the regular season, period. However many games that is now, like probably about 20. And to do it by 2 points, it wasn't like they just ran away. Like Clinic had a bad day and none of them were really on their game at all, and so Best Buds just like ran away with it. But if they played that game time and time again, Clinic would run away with it. This was like 2 fucking points, man. A barn burner right up to the end. So for Clinic in this second half, you had 32 on Scott. Scott played, as usual, outstanding. The cars, the rifles as a whole, really just all average about 30 kills there. Scott with 32, Insom with 30, 28 for Sam, 26 for Tom, 22 for Garrett, 16 for Vic. And then on the Best Buds side, Hopper ended up being the MVP. He had a lot of really important kills. Really important. He had with a one clip, we saw the triple bar snipe basically in the frag of the week, and then the White Steps clip, which was instrumental in getting them a cap out. So yeah, he was the MVP of this game. I don't think he necessarily top fragged. I think Piff top fragged, followed by War. But Hopper just had some really, really important kills. War Within had that no-scope mid-break as well, that if not for that, Clinic, assuming that Clinic holds on to mid for 1 minute, they win the game. Yeah, just really big team effort across the board by Best Buds. 31 for War, 30 for Piff, 26 for the Brom Bomb, 25 for Bobby, 19 for Big Bird, and a historic win for Best Buds there, closing out this week in silver. I said Clinic would win this game by, I think it was like 20 or something, 15 to 20, and wrong. Down the toilet. Best Buds get the dub by 2 points. What a game. Again, go watch that game if you haven't seen it already, because it was a good one. Okay, on to the gold division. How fucking deep. Oy, oy, oy. Oy, oy, oy. So, let's do our game first here. I really basically don't remember this game. We played it at 9:30 on Monday. I had to wake up at 2, and so I didn't sleep at all Monday. Then I was on the train all day. Didn't manage to sleep at all. And then, it's just been like a blur of the last few days here. So I barely remember. All I remember is it seemed like I was the only one dying. It was like I was the only one dying and knowing where anybody was throughout the 40 minutes of this game. Like I was basically the bait for Thunder during this game. So first half, Seoul started off very, very well. They had us on the ropes for a while there. We ended up winning the half by 33. Kills were plus 34 for us. On the Soul side, Cam with 29 on the sniper, Jared with 28 heavying, 21 for Brandon on a rifle, 20 for Shreddies on a third, 18 for Blackhawk, 16 for PB, and on our side it was 35 for Jared, 35 for Jules, 28 for Bry, 26 for Omenair, 25 for John, 17 for me. And then on to the second half. So Axis side for us, 170 to 2. I ended up going 4-way. We switched something at the last second, which I kind of thought was going to happen. To be honest, I was kind of prepared for the fact that I was going to have to go the shitty route, the shitty version of long on allies, where like I can't even really go apartments, because then if I let them come out at the 1 and pick off a spawn wave, that's on me. So I'm mostly just sitting there having to wait for anyone to decide to push blue room, or all of them, and then go 4-way on Axis side, which I would way rather go 4-way on Axis side anyways. It's just I would also rather be going in that direction on allies, because long is a shit show on allies. You know, like, really, you need your heavies to be, like, part of the team of dealing with blue room, but alas, in this game, it was just my heavies, like, go deal with it, and I'll just fucking sit here. So 170 to 2. Yeah, 22 on Rye, so Booten's laptop died, which he told us was going to happen. Twist got to come in for him there. Stamp ends up with 22. He was on the sniper for a lot of this half, and then on the heavy. PB with 20, 17 for Shreddies and Blackhawk, 15 for Cam, and then for us, it was 41 for Omenair. He definitely, like, was just running all over the place. I think a lot of shit changed class-wise, or route-wise, even on the fly in this game, even whether we knew it or not. It seemed like everybody was just kind of running all over the place, and I was just kind of going 4-way and dying. That's what it felt like to me. So 41 for Ryan, 39 for Brian, 36 for Jared, 27 for Jules, 25 for me, 23 for John. We got the W in the end. Soul, obviously, with a little bit of tough luck with Brandon lagging out and everything. You know, the map is just fucking chaos, man. I don't love that map. When I'm sniping it, I love it. Sniping it's super fun. Because that Axis Loft is so fucking good, but I did not love playing it the routes that I was going. It was a little more fun on Axis going 4-way. It also can be fun going long on it. It's probably more fun going long on Axis. I just never been a long player, so going 4-way made more sense to me just from a base. Long on allies sucks. Like, you really, the thing is, Blue Room is so dangerous on this version of Railroad. Like, it's more dangerous than Railroad 2. There's a lot more space and shit that you can do with that area. So on Allied side, you kind of have to beware of long. You cannot leave Blue Room open too much, or it will bite you in the ass. So somebody has to be ready for it at all times. Whether it's that rifle going into apartments and letting the heavies know, hey, off of spawn, like, watch your shit. It's just, I know my role on this team. Like, I'm not going to go out there and try to put up 90 kills. Like, that's what everyone else wants to do. Somebody else has to be the guy to do the unfun stuff. It's just the way it works. But GG to Soul. I mean, we're going to get to play each other on an actual fun map later on, I believe. So, or maybe we don't. I have no idea, actually. I'll have to look at the schedule. But, you know, for that map, it was like just getting it over with was good. Hopefully, once some changes can get made on it, it will become more fun. I don't think it's a bad, you know, map. Like, I think it can be changed to work. It's just not quite there yet. It definitely has the potential to work out, though. So, all right, on to Dice versus Over. So, you see there, Dice wins 242 to 30. This was a crazy start to the game. So, Over, in the first 5 minutes, I want to say, was actually like doubling the kill total of Dice. It looked like they were about to actually just steamroll over this game here. But they never got mid, which, I mean, I've talked about it on the Dodcast. I have no idea what the answer is for it. If it's overthinking it, I don't mean if it's overthinking. I'm saying is overthinking it. Like, oh, we shouldn't go for mid yet. We should wait. Like, sometimes in this game, there's no perfect time to go for double caps. You just got to force it, especially after you're getting, like, 4. They actually had a point where they team wiped, and they didn't get on mid for a few seconds, and then they ended up getting broken. Over could have definitely won this half with the way that they were playing at the start. Eventually, Dice got mid control first and ended up, you know, really getting their shit together and winning the game, obviously, but Over looked really fucking scary, man. If they can just get that other side of things in a little more consistently, you know, that's really the only thing that's missing for Over sometimes, is just the urgency to get on the objectives, you know, because we can get as many kills as we want and still lose the game. It's just, that's the way it goes in DoD. We've seen it many times where teams have outfragged the other team and lost the game. Again, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But for some reason, they just really did not want to get on mid. If it was miscommunication, like obviously there's multiple different native languages here on the team. It could be any number of things. I have no idea. I really don't. But Over is like so close to just beating everybody. And we've seen it a few times with them where like they're just steamrolling over teams during matches. And then eventually it ends up biting them in the ass that they didn't get the objective when they had that like big time opening to do so. Like a team wipe or whatever. It was just weird. It was just weird. Because that first 5 minutes, they were, man, it looked really scary. They were just hitting every fucking shot. Like the kill feed would just be filling up with Over. They were playing so well. But then once DICE was able to get themselves like out of spawn and established and comfortable and get mid, then the rest of the game, it was, coming up mostly DICE. I don't know. It's definitely something to watch as the season goes on. I think Chi helped with that a lot last season on Over. Like, it seemed like Chi maybe was just like the voice to tell everyone, like, hey, we get on mid now. Get on it. Like, maybe it's just that somebody needs to do that for Over. Just kind of like, not yell at people, but be stern in the fact that, like, hey, we just killed 5 guys or 4 guys or 6 guys or whatever. Get on the double cap. Because last season with Chi on the team, it just seemed like they were not really falling into that trap as often. So I would guess that Chi was, because he's vocal when he plays. He's very willing to say, like, hey, we got to get the fuck on mid. Hey, we got to go to the fucking one. Things like that. But yeah, that was really the story of this game. Once that stopped happening, once Over, like DICE kind of leveled things up and got mid first, it was the DICE show from there. Outside of SC, who dropped 42 kills with an STG, looked absolutely insane. He had 42, Nightmare at 29, Sokka with 26, 24 for Jizzy, 23 for Caffrey, 21 for Kum Kum. It's just, man, I'd love to know what the game ends up looking like in that first half if Over do get mid the first time that they really could have, and potentially even cap out. I think it would have ended up being certainly a lot closer of a game, obviously. It just, I don't know. It was weird to see, because especially the team wipe moment. Obviously, you can't know that you actually team wiped. It just doesn't work like that in DoD. It's easy for us to watch it and say, like, well, they just team wipe. Why didn't they go for mid? I don't know. To me, it might just be they're thinking a little too hard about when they go for a double cap, which I get. Because then if you go for it and it gets broken and it all falls apart, that's just as bad maybe, or worse than not going for it at all. But I don't know. On certain occasions, you got to just hop on it. Certainly not always, but there's definitely times where it's just like you killed 4, you killed 5. You got to just hop on it. You can't always try, and that's another thing maybe that it is that they're thinking about it like, oh, well, we should have someone push up and stop the break. But on a map like this, there's so many places they can break from. There's not enough guys on your team to stay capping and have everybody push up to prevent all the breaks, right? Like, there are some maps where pushing up to prevent the break is a valuable tool. And this is just not one of them, because they can be in ticket, they can be at the 2, they can be in loft, they can be in lower loft, they can be white steps, they can be in apartments, they can be everywhere. There's just too many. It's not like one hallway that they have to come through to break it. It's not possible to prevent all the breaks. So I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward with Over. I'm sure that they were aware that they could, in retrospect, they could have got mid on those instances, but obviously did not. On the DICE side, 39 for Kevin. He looked great. 39 for Alex. He looked insane. He had 2 absolutely disgusting fast 4Ks. One of them, he was standing right in this spot here where I'm clicking the mouse, and he was basically trapped against that wall fighting with guys balcony, underpass, and 4-way, and killed all 4 of them. Bonkers. And then another one, he was behind the mid cap, ends it with a double pistol. The guy is just insane. And I would say even as like leveled up after that LAN performance, I don't know, it might just be like people's view of him after the LAN. But I personally, I feel like he playing with DICE it might just be this team as well, I guess, playing together more and more and getting familiar with each other opens things up even more for Alex. But he was already one of the absolute best players in the game, and now he just feels like a goddamn superhero. It's crazy to watch. He's insane. 32 for Paul as well in apartments, 31 for Matt, 29 for Chris, 18 for Johnny. 73-7, 67-point lead after the half. And then on the Axis side, it was 169-23, plus 34 on the kill total. Hubie had 35 kills there. It's 77 kills, man. Like, SZ looking outstanding in this game for over. 32 for Nightmare, same thing. He had over 60 kills. 29 for Caffrey, 23 for Sokka, 21 for Kum Kum, 10 for Jizzy. And on the Dice side, 39 for Paul, the top fragger in that half. I think Kevin top fragged overall, maybe? I think Alex was the MVP. He definitely top fragged overall, Kevin. He had 76, sorry. Alex had 73. Paul had 71, which is just a crazy 3 score totals to have. Over 70 kills for 3 guys. Matt also with 30 there. He had 61, I believe. 25 for Johnny, 19 for Chris. And yeah, another big win for Dice here. Coming out of the LAN after their insane run to the finals. You know, they look great right off the bat here in KTP Season 8. Unsurprisingly, for anybody who's been paying attention, this team is very fucking scary. You know, you never know what to expect playing against this team. They are just, they are the embodiment of chaos. It's not easy to really like just go out there and play in that chaos with them because they definitely like doing it more than most. And then they're all insane at the game as well. So like, even if you end up, say, killing 5 of them and you think like, oh, well, there's only 1 guy left. How about the 5 of us just go kill him? And then like Element just killed 5 of you. Paul just killed 5 of you, right? Like these things can happen. Dice 2-0 now to start the season and sitting atop the gold division after week 2. And then the last gold game, the match of the week, one of the matches of all time, G-Skill versus Icy Hot. We all wanted to see this matchup. This is the first time we got to see it. It's unfortunate it was on a map like Railyard where it's kind of like, I mean, I guess, right, it's kind of interesting for it to be on Railyard 2 where there's not this like extreme 20 years worth of meta built up on it. I think for me with these 2 teams, I would also like to see it on a map like that, which we will, Harrington. But yeah, with it being Railyard, very chaotic, very interesting game, man, the way that it played out. You can see there, though, obviously, Icy had 115-107 for G-Skill. This was a wild game, man. It was so fucking close. In the end, what ends up happening is actually Dice capped, or not Dice, sorry, Icy Hot capped out twice, and I believe G-Skill didn't cap out, and Icy Hot ends up winning. So G-Skill basically controlled play, I would say probably like 75 to 80% of the time, like they were in control of mid, and maybe one of the other flags. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, whatever. But they were racking up points, and then it seemed like if Icy Hot got control, they ended up getting a cap out of it. They made the most of it, you know? Which was it was just a crazy game. Like, this is another one. You have to just go watch this game. It was a true heavyweight fight at the highest possible levels of DOD. It delivered as advertised, as you would expect with these 2 teams. So, first half here, Allied side for G-Skill, Axis for Icy. Icy out frags by 19. For G-Skill, they win the half 59-47. On the G-Skill side, 33 for Milo. He was outstanding in this game. He ended up with 72 overall. He would have been the MVP for sure if G-Skill win this game. 30 for Andrew. 23 for Frank, 21 for Taylor and Chuck, 20 for Timo. And on the Icy side, the guy who did end up being the MVP, Jesse, 39 kills there with the STG, including the obvious moment of the match where he got 4 kills. He was prone on the spawn ramp. I didn't even notice. Honestly, you like could barely see him there. It was crazy. Crazy spot. So G-Skill Chuck pushed up 4-way. He got 2 sniper kills, 2 pistol kills, got the 1, defended it, which led to Icy Hot having to send everybody out to the 2. G-Skill has the other, 5 guys working out that direction. At least 4, clearly, because Jesse gets a 4-kill, spray down. But, in the cast out saying, and this is clearly, definitely going to be a cap out here. G-Skill traded. They ended up with, 3 or 4 guys left alive, and Jesse on the spawn ramp kills. I think it was, I forget. The clip definitely got seen, but I forget exactly. There's definitely a guy coming up from 4-way to flank sandbag spawn, which is a big kill to get, obviously, because that guy could have capped out if he had gotten a kill there. And then 3 guys going for the flag. I was watching it from, I think, Taylor's POV. He flying, killed a guy out a big window, and all you see are G-Skill bodies headed for that too. And then just 4 kills on the screen for Jesse. The game obviously ends up being an 8-point game. So a cap out there wins the game. Yeah. That's the game-saving play for sure. 39 kills for Jesse. 32 for Sean on the Stas. I was talking about this in the cast a little bit. How... and I probably should have qualified it that particularly when Vertex is also playing, because with Casey, you gotta put him on a car. But, to me, Sean is such a good Stas. If you can get car level production out of a Stas, which is something that Thunder relied on a lot for years. Toxinator on the Stas, getting 30 to 40 kills all the time. When Sean is on the Stas, and depending on the map, obviously, there's other times where, you don't want to do that. But I think, to me, if I was the GM of the team, I would be trying to have Sean on the Stas a lot, because when he has that Stas in his hands, is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Obviously he's a great car, but so are Chi and Sick, right? The question is, who is the best Stas out of the 3 of them? I think it's pretty clearly Sean. I know position-wise, it's not optimal, but you can have Sean go car positions with the Stas if you want, and you can have Chi go Stas positions with the car and be fine. I think they could get very creative with that, but it was kind of the same thing with Vertex on the team, where it was I don't know, Sean scares me with the Stas. I with the car, you could maybe make him miss, but you're not going to make him miss fucking 4 or 10 bullets. It's just not going to happen. You can make anybody miss with the car. To me, I think that Sean is the best Stas of the bunch. So when I saw him on the Stas, I was I like this for Icy out here. When I see them with Sean on the Stas, it just seems, it makes the lineup a little more complete, I think, because he's going to have high impact, whatever gun he's using. And in particular, with the Stas, I think he's just one of the best in the game. I know, again, position-wise, right? I'm having the 3rd rifle this season, and I'm already complaining about the position. So I understand that aspect, but with this team, it's a lot of very versatile players. You can move positions around and stuff to make it work. I think they're all insane with the car, and I just think Sean is also really insane with the Stas, and sometimes you gotta, do a CBA on it and say, okay, how do we get the most impact overall here? I think that there's a lot of times where Sean on the Stas is the way to do that. It, again, depends on the map, positions, the lineups, if you're missing somebody, shit like that. I just think he is a really underrated Stas. And scary with it, He's scary with that Stas, and he was showing that in this game, just running all over the place, fucking multi-kill after multi-kill with that Stas. I don't know. Something to think about, I guess. I just wanted to touch on it because I talked about it in the cast. And yeah, again, map to map, position by position, there's ways to do it that I think is just very, very beneficial for just the fluidity of Icy Hot as a lineup. They're all insane players, obviously. Whoever's on the Stas is going to still be fucking good at the game. There's no way around that. I just think that Sean's impact with the Stas is going to be tough for just about anyone else in the game to match up to, because a lot of times with that gun and the positions that you end up having to play, it just comes down to being able to hit the crazy first bullet, out of the Stas. This is why a lot of the best 3rd rifles you see are just the best mechanical players, because the gun for whatever reason, just doesn't quite feel like the Garand all the time, but it seems like for the best Stasses, it does. They can make use of it like a Garand, and Sean's one of them. Tox, Alex, Justin, J-Rod, Sam, like these guys who can just use that Stas like it's a Garand and make it feel like a Garand when you're watching them play with it. So fucking worth their weight in gold. 26 for William, 24 for Ben, 23 for Justin, 23 for Chi, 12-point lead at the half for G-Skill. And then on to the second half, it was a very similar story in this half, and G-Skill did come so close to bringing it all the way back as the clock wore down. So there was a point in the game where they just needed to have mid and hang on to it. And I think they both realized that. I mean, I would bet just about anything they both realized that. Icyot does get mid back. That applies the pressure to G-Skill because Icyot got it at a time where it was like exactly the right time that there was going to be not enough ticks left for G-Skill to get mid and just hang on to it with any other flag and make up the ticks they needed to. Like, they had to just basically have mid for the last however many minutes. And then once Icyot got it, it was like, okay, well, now G-Skill needs to cap out. And G-Skill does get mid back with like a minute to a minute and a half left. And they start applying the pressure. But Icyot stood strong. They did not give up the full cap. They end up winning. This half, it was by 20 points. G-Skill had 48. They had 153 kills. Icyot 68 and 175. On the G-Skill side, as I showed earlier, Milo 39 kills, almost breaking 40 with that STG. He was a big reason G-Skill almost ended up coming all the way back in that half in those last few minutes because he was just locking shit down all over the place, especially at that first flag, White Steps Apartments area. Frank with 28, Chuck with 25, Andrew and Taylor with 21, Colin with 19, and then on the icy side, 37 for Justin. He was just insane. Yeah, see what I did there? 37 for him. 32 for Ben, of course. Ben on an allied side of a rail-based map. Doing Ben things. 31 for Sean. Again, 63 kills for Sean here on the Garand Stas. Like, what more can you ask? Like, 60 kill games on the Stas is few and far between. It just is. And there you go, right? Like, 63 kills for Sean there. So fucking valuable. 29 for William on the Garand. 29 and 18. Really, really good scoreline there. 27 for Jesse, who again ended up being the MVP. I do believe he top fragged as well, but just the STG play and the 39 kills on Axis alone was going to he could have probably had like 15 kills in this half, and if the score ended up the same, he's still your MVP because that was a clear individual saving of a cap out. And yeah, 19 for Chi was the last one. What a win for Icyot. The first G-Skill Icy game is in the books. Icyot take it by 8. As you would expect, this game comes down to single fucking digits. And we get to look forward to seeing this at least one more time this season. I would guess probably we'll see it again in the finals too. But I shouldn't even say that because like I probably jinxed them like I did before. Like every time I talk about Icyot in the finals, I end up jinxing them. Gold is very open. To be fair, like I think I coming into the season. Oh, what did I just do? Coming into the season, I think G-Skill Dice rematch obviously probably makes the most sense. But now, a lot of times, and there's a saying in the fight game that styles make fights, right? And it's possible that Icyot's style just matches up with G-Skill style. It's one of those things. We don't know. You cannot draw conclusions off of one fucking game on this map in particular, right? But that will be the storyline when they play each other again. And it'll be on Harrington, which is a good map for both of them. I would say when you're talking about the teams that are around right now, the best two Harrington teams. Obviously, like T3 NSA, you have to put there as well. But those are the two teams I don't want to play on Harrington, and they get to play against each other. And we'll see. Like once we get a little bit more of a sample size of them playing against each other, we can talk about it. At this point, it's just one game, and a huge win for Icyot here early in the season, getting one on the board. G-Skill, it's their first loss in a very long time. They're going to be fine. You know, like they're not gonna dwell on this too much. It's a long season. Gold is a shark-infested water right now. There's a lot of good teams to have to deal with still. You know, G-Skill versus Dice is still a game that we haven't seen yet. They already played over to a close one. You know, they have to play us this week, which is on Anzio, which, you know, like, we're good on Anzio, but, you know, I don't think they need to be that concerned with us at this point. You know, but G-Skill, I know they definitely got the shittiest end of the stick on what map they're playing each team on. They got a lot of teams like favored maps. I don't know if Anzio would be our first pick. Like, I think Lennon would probably be the one. But for G-Skill, Lennon is also one of their first picks too. So, like, I think they would probably rather play us on Lennon than our Anzio. But when it comes down to, like, all the other matchups, like, just to take a quick look here, because I know I was talking about this maybe last week. So they got over on Lennon. You know, that, I think that's the clear one that over would pick. So that, I mean, that kind of eliminates the whole argument, I guess, on the Thunder side, right? Obviously, Icy out here. And then Anzio versus us, Armory versus Dice, Thunder versus Soul, Solitude versus Over, Harrington versus Icy Hot, Saints versus Thunder. I forgot that was the other map that we played them on. But then Railroad 2 versus Dice. Railroad 2 versus Dice is the other one. What does it say? February 23rd, 2025. I don't know what that means. Does everybody play each other twice? No. No, everybody doesn't play each other twice, it looks like. Who don't we play? We only played Dice once, I guess. Is this a ranked week, maybe? I mean, if it is, I don't know what the other map would be, I guess. That's the question. But yeah, I mean, over on Lennon, Thunder on Anzio, Dice on Armory, and Icy on Harrington. Certainly, like, you can't ask for much more, like, the preferred maps for a lot of those teams. You know, I would say. Wait, did they also play Dice on Railroad 2? And we saw this matchup, G-Skill versus Dice, at the LAN on Armory, and G-Skill won, but I think Dice really, like, started to come on in the back half of that game. I mean, G-Skill's got a fucking tough schedule, man. If anyone can blow through it, though, it's G-Skill. Obviously, just getting this, you know, when you have a big, long, undefeated streak, to be honest, sometimes that can just be something extra to have to think about. If I'm on G-Skill, I'm thinking, like, all right, whatever. That's one loss out of the way. It's on Railyard. It's fine. It's a long season. We have to play Icy out again. We have to play all these other teams on all these other maps. It's going to be fine. I would just, you know, out of sight, out of mind. It is what it is. G-Skill's going to be fucking fine, man. They are still the best team in the game. I'm sure that there would be people who want to debate me on that. I'm sorry, but I watch a lot of DOD. G-Skill is still the best team in the game. The thing is, though, just anybody, especially in this case ICAT, just getting a win on the board against them, it has to feel so good because G-Skill has been unfucking beatable, man. Unbeatable. Like, you know, I know I would feel amazing if I was on ICAT right now, getting that win under my belt. All right. Oh my God, I just keep fucking talking. I just wanted to make sure we talked a lot about G-Skill ICA because it was such a big game in the annals of DoD history here in the KTP era. And it lived up to the hype, being such a close game like that, so many big moments. So I look forward to seeing that Harrington game, man. That's going to be... like, everybody needs to mark that game on the calendar. I'm telling Thunder that we need to make sure we're not playing at the same time as that game, because I need to cast that game live. I need to. I don't want spoilers. Alrighty then. Alright. Let's predict some stuff. Real quick. Okay. All right, so bronze predictions. Is there like a better way to look at the schedule, right? Yeah. All right, so Wickeds versus No-Go. So I have the Wickeds lineup here. Got Jiraiya on the sniper, Ryan and Zaps on the main rifles, AZ and Bullet on the heavies, and Leto on utility. And as you can see there, Lucho has responded with his availability. I might be picking up a 10th out of roster, but as of right now, that is the tentative lineup. Zaps getting in that lineup is obviously a big deal. Zaps is a hell of a good player. That will always help. And then on the No-Go side, based on what they've deployed thus far, you have Deidro, Koi, Quarter, Cushy, Greg, and Jamie, but they got Blue, Solid, and Matthew still waiting in the wings whenever they're needed. This week is Anzio, right? It's with the Wickeds. They got some lineups that they, you want Barini in there for sure. He's not going to be there this week, obviously. It looks like he might be back for week 5. When you can get, if you can get Zaps and Barini in that lineup, and I guess they're working on getting one more guy, maybe they can get somebody else who is of similar ilk to those guys. That team gets really, really potentially scary. That's a lot of good players on that team all of a sudden. Now, Zaps getting in there is going to help a lot this week. Zaps is always good for 60 kills when he's playing. He's just not available all that often. It's really the big thing for the Wickets right now is just availability, which is tough to start the season. But again, it's a long season, and the regular season, everybody makes the playoffs. So if you can get your guys on for the playoffs, that's the important thing. On a map like Anzio, sometimes, you don't even need to necessarily have your best guys. You just need everybody subscribe to the theory of how to play the map and playing off one another. And on Anzio, sometimes that means ratting around and proning around, 2005 play style stuff, holding on to street, holding on to plaza, not over pushing, not overplaying your hand. In that regard, that's a good thing for the Wickeds this week, even with missing guys. That helps them out at being a map like Anzio rather than a map like Railyard or Lennon or Harrington, where it's just chaos and it's just frag versus frag. The thing is, the No-Go side, these guys got a shitload of experience too, right? And they are playing really, really well. They could easily be 2-0 right now if not for CK single-handedly capping out on Lennon. And nobody would be surprised if they were undefeated. It's a tough draw for the Wickeds here. You go with No-Go in this case. I think the Wickeds will play well, and they'll be able to have answers to not let things slip away. It's just with No-Go. When you got Kush playing so insane, and he's playing different classes every week, which again for me is something I love to see because that's kind of my whole deal. Being able to play whatever class my team needs me to that week and still be good. Greg basically averaging 40 kills half on the heavies, Quarter being one of the best snipers. It's just the team looks very, very good so far, and I suspect they will continue that streak going forward. For the Wickeds, it's just growth. Just keep growing, figuring it out together, being at a position where once you have your best possible 6 available, then you can slide them in and everything clicks. And now, you're able to beat these teams in those moments. Because it will come. The cards will work out in the Wickets' favor at some point. I know how tough it is, right? With Thunder, there's been seasons where it's okay, we're missing 4 fucking guys this week. Already this season, we're missing people left and right every week. So I understand how tough that can be. But yeah, they'll be fine. They will be fine. They've got the guys on the team to be able to win games. It's just a matter of them all being available when the time comes. Here you take No-Go. They got a couple really good Anzio players as well, just in general. You go with No-Go here, what is it, 60 points a cap? You say 80 to 120 in that range. I suspect they'll have a strong allied side to be able to establish a good lead. The Wicked's going to have to just try to kind of defend against the full cap. If you can limit the damage on Axis side, it's very doable to pull off wins on this map that you didn't think going into it you might necessarily have done. Things can turn really fast on this map. Just ask Thunder against Clinic. where we were not able to limit the damage enough, and then we lost because of it, right? It's very, very doable. Okay. On to the next one. Ooh, yeah, we got some fun ones here. Uncle Rico versus Rifle Nades, man. So for Uncle Rico, obviously they only have 7 players, right? So Nick has generally been sniping. Kevin on one heavy as in Purdy. Kevin as in Stark on a heavy. G on a heavy. Ian on a rifle. Cadaver on a third, technically. And then Zamp filling in where needed. Last week he played and he thirded. And then on the Rifle Nade side, what we saw last week, Arachnid, Azilla, Firo, Boom, Chrono, and Henry. I believe Celts is like supposed to play a lot of the time. So I'm guessing, barring there being players missing, you probably see Celts in there for Henry this week potentially. This will be very telling. I mean, I've said that a lot in the Bronze Division. We are learning things with each passing game. Now we're in the 3rd week here. Rifle Nades has only got to play the one game. They have a makeup game with the Wickets that night, right before this match. I love what I see out of Rifle Nades. That Ninja game, that's more of a credit to how fucking resilient Ninja was being in that game than it is something against Rifle Nades. They had an Arachnid lag out at one point, which definitely didn't help too, although I think he got back in by the time the cap out happened. Still, you never know what the effect is going to be down the line from a lag out. Even if it doesn't happen in that moment, it could be the fuse that gets lit to cause something to happen a little bit later. Obviously, for Uncle Rico's Time Machine here, Anzio, a map where experience matters, right? And these guys have some of the most fucking old school players that are left in the game. They're going to know how to play Anzio to win. Rifle Nades, obviously they've also played plenty of Anzio, whether it's in 1.3 or Source. It's definitely different in Source, very different. Just the way that the architecture plays and everything like that, but still the same general idea. Arachnid, going to be very, very important in this game. Head Like a Hole going to have to be able to deal with him because he will lock down his route. And we know Azilla will go off. The heavy team, right? Chrono and Boom look great on Lennon. If they're doing the same thing here, bless you. We got a sneezing cat over there. If they're able to do the same thing here, it could be tough for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. But, with the guys on that team, it's just every minute that they get to play in DOD right now, get back into the swing of things, is going to make them better and better. It's really the same thing for Rifle Nades, too, just in a different way. Man, I don't know. I do not know. I want to cast this game, but I don't even know if I'll be able to. I think we might be playing around the same time or right at the same time. Well, Uncle Rico's Time Machine is 2-0 right now. Rifle Nades could be 2-0 by the time this game gets played, too. This could kind of decide who your early leader in the clubhouse is in the Bronze Division. It's I want to say Uncle Rico's Time Machine because of all the experience they've got and it being Anzio and everything like that. And I very well believe that they could run away with this even. But with Arachnid and Azilla and Chrono and Boom, I like what I saw out of them on London. They had to face some adversity in that game where they probably didn't really going into it feel like it was necessarily going to be a hard game. I certainly didn't. I was saying it all over the cast, oh, this is unfortunate, but we're just going to leave this game early and go to the next one because things just didn't work out for Ninja. And then Ninja made it a game. And that did not fuck with Rifle Nades mentally at all. They continued to be strong and do what they needed to do and come out with the dub. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Rifle Nades here, but this is another fucking coin flip. Yeah. The Zin says Rifle Nades as well, but this is just one of those games that it could go either way. You get one strong game out of another guy on Uncle Rico's here. One guy dropping, because on Anzio you're not gonna get 50 kills most of the time, right? That's kind of unheard of. One guy dropping an extra 30. On Anzio can swing things back in the other direction. That's, an extra 4, 5, whatever kills can be the difference between a cap out and winning the game by 30 points or not quite getting there and losing the game by 30 points. I think any other matchup here, and I would probably be saying Rifle Nades easily. I think that they are low key one of the big two teams here in the division. I think that right now you look at these two teams as the two teams to beat. Yeah, I'm going with Rifle Nades here, but I think it's like a one cap game, and I think it could go either way. This is one where I don't feel very confident in what I'm picking at all. And then we got Rodeo versus the Ninja. So for the Ninja, I'm going to assume Illusion is there. Miller, Illusion, Woody, Bestia, Verb, and Steve. Obviously, you got Colby there, Dirty German. I don't think Aim Tech is necessarily going to play, but I have no idea. On the Rodeo side, you got Snipies, Kickin, CK, Lasik, Nick, Yarrow. You got Bo can play, Jane, Meep, Titus, I think, is available like at match time. So I don't know with this one. On a map like Anzio for the Ninja, not a lot of experience, right? They're all new players, so they're not going to have the thousands of reps on Anzio that Rodeo are going to have. It's just not going to happen. Don't even tell me my microphone has been muted this whole time. Okay, no, it's not. I didn't even think to check that before. And then, because normally I'm on my studio mic, which cannot be muted remotely like that. Okay, I would have shit my pants there. Literally. All the guys on Rodeo have played this map a million times. And that matters here. Obviously, there's definitely guys on the Ninja who have Miller, Illusion, Bestia. If Shogun were to play or if Aim Tech were to play. But it's going to be an uphill climb for the Ninja. I think they are very capable of making this one interesting. But you got to go with Rodeo here. CK is going to be causing hell. Illusion's going to have to be the one to kind of lock him down in that regard. Bestia going to have to be dealing with the heavies. It's a lot to ask, right? But I think the Ninja is just going to keep improving week in and week out. Truly. I really liked what I saw out of them online, and I did not expect them to even do what they were able to do on that map. Missing Illusion as well. So I just expect to keep seeing encouraging things out of the Ninja going forward. Just on a map like Anzio, little minutia and the experience in those situations matter a lot. And, CK you're going to lose track of CK on this map at least a couple times, and it's going to result in a Ninja Cap or whatever, and that'll add up a lot. And I think Rodeo will end up coming out on top here. But, for the Ninja, that's fine early on. In a new game for most of these guys, just incremental improvements right now. It's like CIS in Season 2. We talked about it constantly with them back then. And what ended up happening? They ended up winning the Bronze Championship when all was said and done. And I think the Ninja could be on the same path. Obviously, we also have Rifle Nades in that regard. I think it's a little bit different because most of them have played 1.3, even just in KTP, right? So I can't really look at them as being CIS reincarnated, although they have guys from CIS. It's just not really the same story. I think the Ninja is more that CIS kind of team in how many of their guys are brand new to 1.3 competitively right now. But yeah, Rodeo in this game, CK is going to be running all over the place, raising hell. The heavies are going to be strong on this map. Nick likes this map. Yarrow's looked really, really good, and Snipies will, of course, be sniping very, very well on it. So yeah, that's the bronze side of things. On to the silver side of things. So what do we got here? GVMH Price is Right. We got the makeup match for this one here. Expired Clan X gets played this week. I know that'll be a good one. Band of Morons versus Clan X. Ooh, that's a banger. Volvo Best Buds is a good one. Emo Frag Squad expired as well. Clinic, oh, poor Sam. Poor Clinic not getting to play Anzio. That's messed up, KTP. You're going to not let Clinic play Anzio? They should be allowed to trade their buy with somebody else. Let Clinic play Anzio. That's bullshit, KTP. That's fucked up. All right. Whew, what do we got here? Let's start off with Emo Frag Squad versus Expired. So, For the Emo Frag Squad, you're going to have Steve, Matt, J-Rod, Ian, Saf, and Apple. Most likely, that's the 6 you're going to see out of them 99% of the time. Unexpired, Raven, Pizza Hut, SQ, Fincher, Anna, and Super. Most likely the 6 to see out of them all the time. This is a tough matchup for Emo Frag Squad. Yeah, for them, you got to hope that what we did see last week was them clicking. Because on this map, there's a lot of opportunities for guys to slip the net. And they need to be on top of that shit. Maybe even more so than on Railyard, just because you got sewers and you got all these hidey holes that people can slip into and catch a spawn wave and stuff like that. And for Expired, you've got guys like SQ and Fincher and Raven and Super, like, who are, if you let them get up to your fucking spawn and 4 of you are on respawn, there's a pretty decent chance they're going to kill at least 3 of you. You got to be very wary of that. Teamwork is the name of the game on this map. Rotations, support, nades, timings, very, very important. Emo Frag Squad, obviously a new team, but plenty of experience on them. Expired, one of the best teams from last season in Silver. And obviously Anzio map, that's always good for the Euros, right? Just historically speaking. They like their Anzio. Like, I lean towards Expired here, but I don't know, man. Like, just the way that Emo looked in the back half of that Railyard game, that looked like one of the best teams in Silver right there. If they can build off of that and keep the same kind of things going forward in this game, you might be seeing the rise of an elite Silver team here. This is actually maybe a perfect test for them, going up against one of the elites from last season on a map like Anzio, where like raw frag power isn't going to be as catch-all to win a game. You know, obviously Anzio for the heavies, like, you're a little bit pigeonholed on this map. Like, it's not the best route to gain a lot of space and make a lot of shit happen. It can be boring at times, but you gotta babysit that street area. It's just so fucking important. It feeds out into so much of the map and can just completely flip things 180 degrees if you don't. Obviously, J-Rod and Matt, very, very aware of that. The sniper battle, Ian versus Raven, is a very good one. Most of the time, the snipers aren't really facing each other on this map, but you never know. And then, like, you know, just watch Apple, man. Watch the mechanics on that fucking guy. I don't know who's going to necessarily go double windows for Emo Frag Squad. That's a good question to ask. Somebody's going to have to do it. I'll be curious to see what happens there. I assume on the Expired side, it'll be SQ. I always say SQ when I watch him, reminds me of me. So it makes sense for him to be the guy going dubs. But, you know, I lean Expired here, but with a big caveat of, if the Emo Frag Squad from the last however many minutes of Railyard shows up here, they will win this game. Because that team, I would say, can match up with absolutely anybody in Silver and be able to win the game if that team shows up, where they were just everywhere. There was no holes. Rotations were on point, straight off a spawn. The communication looked like it was flying through. The nades were on point. The timing was on point. If that is what happens here, Emo Frag Squad win this game, and you're looking at one of the teams that's going to end up making it to the semifinals in the end. But we'll see what happens, you know? Maybe it was things could have just clicked on that map. It's very possible. It's more rare, I would say, than a team figuring it out as a whole, because you can generally apply these same principles to any map, just different geography. But yeah, I say Expired, but again, with that huge, huge caveat here that, I mean, I think if Emo does win this game, they probably win it by like about 70 to 100 points. Like, I don't think it's a super close nail biter of a game. Like, if they're going to win this game, it's because they've got it figured out now as a team. And things are about to be difficult for everybody who plays against them. Otherwise, I say Expired here. You know, I going into the season had them, you know, right there in the mix for the top teams in the division, and I don't feel really any differently about that. It's just, it's possible that they actually are running up against one of those top few teams in the division right now. We're going to see what happens in that one, though. I think it's an afternoon game, so I'll probably be able to cast it. There's probably a bunch of afternoon games, so we'll see what happens. I've done both the Emo Frag Squad games, so if they're at the same time as somebody else, I should probably do the other game. All right. Up next, we got Volvo versus Best Buds. So for Volvo, they only have 6 guys on the team, right? Scotty on a heavy, Manor on a heavy, JN on whatever they need him to play. Toki on a sniper, Kingyo on a rifle, Wu on a rifle. We saw Sean Luke get in there and play last week when they were missing Toki. On the Best Buds side, Hopper on a heavy, Ryan on a sniper, the Braun Bomb on a rifle, Big Bird on a third, Piff on a heavy, and Bobby on a rifle. Best Buds coming off the biggest win in organizational history, being the only team to take out the powerhouse, the silver champ, the undefeated Clinic in the regular season ever. They can hang that one on their hat permanently. That's huge. And that is the way to get momentum going in fourth in the season. For Volvo, they've got a lot of good Anzio players here. These guys are all good. Manor, this is maybe his best map along with Shamil, right? Toki, same thing. He's so good at this map. Kingyo, very, very noteworthy on this map. Scotty, normally noteworthy rifling. He's going to be heavying now, but he's still going to be going that same route, which is good whenever possible. Playing a different class on the same route is helpful. For Volvo, I just wish that they had a 7th guy on the roster. So when they're missing somebody, they, had somebody they for sure can get in there. I assume that like Sean Luke is de facto on their roster. I just don't know why he isn't listed there yet. This is to get this matchup on the Volvo side of things. This is the map you want it on. This is a map they know very well how to win. And I think that that will be reflected in the score of this game. I go with Best Buds because beating Clinic is so massive that, I guess there is a world where like they could get overconfident after beating Clinic and come into this game and lose. I think that's far less likely than the opposite, which is that confidence makes them even more formidable in the server, and they come out and they get the dub here, I think, by a cap. I don't think Volvo gets blown out on this map. No way. They are all too good at it and work so well together, which is the most important thing on Anzio. I think that they will make it fucking tough on Best Buds, and I think Best Buds just ends up being that team who is winning close games all season this season. Icy Hot-esque. But yeah, I go with Best Buds here. I love the Toki versus War Within matchup. I really like the matchup that's going to be going on over on Bridge. Plaza, it's always kind of a matter of who understands when they can and can't push, because if you push at the wrong time and you give up that area, it can turn into a full cap very, very quickly. It's just such a beeline straight to the last flag in the spawn. But yeah, I gotta say Best Buds here, like I said, by like a cap and a half maybe, or closer. I'd say that's kind of like the plus minus there, like 80 points or so. Probably comes within that. Okay. Next up, I think one of these two probably for the match of the week. I don't know which one. Silver it seems like every week Silver's got like 2 matches of the week, man. The division is just so fucking stacked. So, Band of Morons versus Clan X. For Clan X, we saw in week 1, they still haven't played their second week match yet, right? But Lobaton, MP, Rafinha, Nitrox, Bitchex, and Bud. Now, Manga, I assume, also will be in there a lot of the time. Probably Lobaton and Manga are in and out. I'm assuming. I don't know that for a fact. And then on the Band of Morons side, so we saw last week was Cody, Casino, Baron, Crawd, James, and Insight. Nicholson, I assume, will be back in this week. I'm not sure what that does to the lineup. Like, who is out then? I don't know. I have no idea who potentially doesn't play for the team at that point. I would assume James keeps playing, right, and just goes on to a different class. I know Guillermo is kind of like hit or miss on activity, so I'm guessing maybe they just got him to be able to play that week. I have no idea, though. I have no clue. That's the 7 guys who I'm assuming 6 of them are playing, and one of those guys is not playing. It kind of feels irrelevant to me. Like, I think either way, they're in the same kind of shape. Like, they have just so many really strong lineups that it almost doesn't matter who's in because they can all pretty much play every class at an equal level. Anzio, though, right? Like a map where the heavies become more just like holding pieces than they do pieces of offense. A lot of it, not all the time. It's certainly very doable to have a heavy go insane on this map and just dominate on the Axis side, and especially on the Allied side. It's just street is so important, and people understand they need to put a focus on street pretty much the whole game. So a lot of times, at least one of the heavies on each side is like designated to not really leave that area unless absolutely necessary. Sniper matchup of Darren versus Nitrox, I'm assuming. Very fun one. Nitrox is insane, man. If you didn't already know, Nitrox is insane at every gun. You know now, because we've seen him play every gun in KTP. Rafinha on bridge, obviously scary. Baron also scary too, though. Lots of scary fucking players in the mix for these two teams. I don't know, man. Like, shit. The score line and everything against Price is Right for Band of Morons, I think, is super deceiving. I think this team they really just ran into Leo going insane. I don't think, like I said, I think if you play that game out 100 fucking times, that's the only way that kind of score line happens. I think that they are one of the best teams. And Clan X is too. This could be a preview of the semis or the finals very easily. On a map like Anzio, who is more, Bud really understands how to win on Anzio for sure. Javi as well is going to know what he needs to do on this map. Rafinha and Bitch X are going to be insane, as we saw on Lennon. Fuck me. I don't know, man. I got, here's the thing, right? I don't think Band of Morons is going to start 0-2, but like they're playing Clan X here, and that sucks for the prospects of Band of Morons to not start 0-2. Like, this game could go either way. This is a clear coin flip game as far as I'm concerned. Now, by the end of the season, maybe it turns out one of these two teams is clearly better than the other one. We're only 2 weeks in. Clan X has only played one match. Band of Morons has only played one match. That's all we have to go on, is that and what I know of the 18 players we see here on this list. I mean, I'm going to do a coin flip, but I already know. So heads is Clan X, tails is Band of Morons. It's heads for Clan X, but like in my heart, I think Band of Morons. But this is what I said last week, right? So the Zin flip says Clan X, but something makes me want to say Band of Morons as I flip the coin. So I don't know. I feel like Band of Morons is going to be there when it's all said and done in the final four of this division, and it's just a matter of like when do they, like, who are they beating along the way? Clan X is a really fucking good team, though, man. It's possible that nobody beats Clan X, to be honest. It's very possible Clan X are your silver champs. But I can say the same thing about Band of Morons. You look at that roster, and it just looks like you could say that is the best team in the division, and no one should really argue with it on paper. It's just a matter of when it starts to show in the server. We only have one game to go off of, so Clan X here by less than a cap, but I don't know, man. That's a tough one to really call in either direction. I think it'll be a fun fucking game, that's for sure. And last but not least, game violation multi-hack versus Price is Right. On the Price is Right side, so I don't know if they're going to potentially have a different looking lineup this week. Probably something along the lines of Leo, of course, Kellen, of course, Corey. I assume Pibian will be back, but I don't know. I also thought Pibian wasn't playing DOD anymore, but then he did play in week 1, so then I got excited, like, ooh, Pibian's back. So now I'm just going to keep saying Pibian's back. Caleb and Tony, but if they're missing anybody at all, you've got Trance, you've got Hypnotic, you probably don't have Polak, because I don't think he has a computer. On the game violation multi-hack side, you've got Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli. Boom. You got Aki, you got Pijisku, and then was Sango the one who played in week 1 or Knack? I actually forget. Where is it? Where are they? Come on. Am I stupid that I fucking... Oh, there it is. Sango. Wait, Sango and Nak. No Aki that week. Okay. That's what it was. So Sango and Nak with Pijisku was the other three. But, I mean, Aki plays a lot, so I assume he could play in a moment's notice. And is a good heavy. So obviously, we know the story with GVMH, right? These three guys are the big three. I'm going to be curious to see who goes where. The Hooli versus whoever's sniping for Price is Right matchup is important. Hooli will get his. So if Pibian's there, or Trance, whoever it is, or Hip, whoever might end up being Sniper, going to have to deal with Hooli. Obviously, this map, you don't get the sniper on sniper action all that much, but Hooli is going to lock down Bridge on Axis, and I assume he'll go Plaza on Allies. But you could also, he's a Euro. Euros, a lot of times, like to spend most of their time sniping on Bridge, so it's possible that he's also just on Bridge. The thing is, I don't know if you really want all three of them to be on the same route. Like, yeah, then they've got a better chance of just dominating their route, but I feel like you want to get at least one of them split off on a different direction. I just don't know who. I don't know where. No Name is obviously insane on Bridge. Do you want to take him and send him over to double windows? I don't know. I think if anyone can do it, it's him. Has Raleigh ever been a double windows car? I feel like whenever I've played him, it's been on Bridge, but it's possible it's just, that was what was going on in that scrim. Do you even maybe send Hooli double windows with a sniper? That's very doable. It's really, that's the biggest question mark for me here, right? Anzio, though, the team is going to know how to play and win that map. The game against Best Buds that they lost, they had multiple lag outs, and they lost by last-minute cap-out, right? They could easily be 1-0 and have beaten Best Buds, who then beat Clinic. So that kind of tells you a lot of the story right there. This is a very, very dangerous team, and they're going to get more dangerous as the season goes on, with the Source guys getting more hours under their belt. Between the matches, obviously, especially, and then also scrims, 12-mans and stuff. Price is Right just looked fucking dominant last week. You got to take Price is Right here. You probably got to look at them, just, again, based on what's happened in the matches, as the favorite here. I think there's like 5 favorites in the silver division, though, to be fair. It's just based on the way the matches have gone. Price is Right now look like the favorites. This will be an interesting one to see when all is said and done, just because you can't really play like, well, this team beat this team and then they beat this team. It just doesn't really work like that. Again, styles make fights. So even if, say, Price is Right were to beat GVMH by like 50 after GVMH barely lost to Best Buds, that doesn't mean that, oh, well, Price is Right then definitely beats Best Buds. Like, that's not really how it works. And then that means that Price is Right definitely beats Clinic, because that's not really how it works. It still comes down to each individual separate matchup. With this being Anzio and a Euro team, I think they can absolutely win this game. Again, I could be wrong on this, right? Maybe if you do send Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli all on the same route and they just dominate their route, maybe that's the path to victory, right? I don't know. They know their team better than I do, and what their theory of how to make it work is. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens with that. I'm predicting Price is Right here. But those three guys are so good at this game that, and especially on a map like Anzio, where they all particularly are going to like it, I think it bodes well for their chances to be able to pull a win out here and throw Silver into even more chaos, where then you would only have one team undefeated, right? Best Buds at that point. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's before they play their match. I forgot that the bye week was Band of Morons, and then Clan X still has to play a makeup match, as does Expired, blah, blah, blah. There's there's a lot of teams that don't have the amount of games played that you would expect. But yeah, I can absolutely see Game Violation Multihack winning this game. But I'm going with Price is Right. This is a team that won a silver championship as SEC, rocking the name of Price is Right, who also won a silver championship. Leo looking like maybe the best player in the division after last week. You know, if there's anybody you want in this game to be able to go head-to-head with No Name and Hooli and Riley, it's definitely Leo and Kellen and Corey and Pibian, you know, if he's playing as well. All star players here. It's just, as this team progresses, I think it gets more and more likely to predict them to win in a game like this. It's just early days, and I have no idea how much they scrim as a team and if they're like getting reps and figuring this shit out, or if they're just going to kind of, once they get there for the match, be like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. I have no idea. But it's going to be close. I can tell you that much. There's no way Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli don't make this thing fucking close. They're that fucking good. You know, No Name is going to get 60 to 80 kills. Same with Raleigh. You know, Hooli is going to, 60 to 80 kills and like 30 or less deaths. And then the other three guys, they just got to be able to play the supportive role, hold their area of the map, let the other three make space, and then you guys use the space and make sure you don't lose it. And then their team game will continue to develop the more and more minutes they get in the server together. By the end of the season, this team is going to be there. Like, they are going to be one of the top teams. They have too much talent on the team to not be. It's just so early right now. I'm not confident in going like, yeah, they're going to win this matchup against Price is Right. Price is Right now looks like the team in the division. So, but that's going to be a fucking good one. The Raleigh No Name Hooli combo is fucking worth the price of admission always. So be curious to see if it's the same other three getting in there. Is it Pijisku, Sango, and Nak? Does Aki or Viper get in there? I've played some 12-mans with Aki too. He's a good heavy, man. He understands how to win, and on a map like Anzio, you might want that in there. Pijisku does as well. I've only gotten to play against Sango and Nak like 1 or 2 times each. I didn't get to play with them, and that's kind of like where I get the most info, because then I'm seeing them around the server, what they're doing in the situation, spectating them and stuff. So I don't have as much really like in the game experience with those guys. But we will get to watch them as the season goes on, and maybe even in this game. What time do they play at? Oh, shit. Oh, that's unfortunate. Huh. I don't know what I want to do with that. Shit. Okay. Well, I have no idea. Oh, damn. Dice versus Icyat is postponed this week. That sucks. Oh, I think I heard that already. That sucks. Well, that's one game that this week I don't have to definitely cast. So that opens things up for me to cast. Although they would have probably played at 9. Basically when we're playing, so I guess it wouldn't have mattered that much. 9:30 for Morons versus Clan X. Lots of fucking games, man. I don't know. There's 4 games going on in the 3 and 4 o'clock range, so we're gonna have to figure out which one we're doing at that time. Obviously, we know that Price is Right can record their HLTV for sure, which makes me think I should do this game and then cast this one on delay. But then this other one, I'm a little less sure about. It depends what server they play in and stuff. Like, hypothetically, if they play in the Thunder servers, well, the New York one, then I could cast this live and cast this live, which would be back-to-back expired games, which I'm just kind of like unfortunate, I guess, to cast the same team when there's so many games going on. I don't know. We'll figure it out. One way or another, I will find a way to be able to do all 4 of those games. It's just 2 of them will be live, 2 of them will be on delay. So, same difference when all is said and done. All right. On to the gold division. The shark-infested waters. We can see here us and Dice at 2-0 right now. G-Skill and Icy out 1-1. Over and Soul at 0-2. The match of the week is pretty much every match every week, right? Like, there's just every matchup is a good one in gold this season. It's crazy. So we play against G-Skill. I think historically Thunder versus G-Skill on Anzio, I was thinking about, I think it's 2-2. One of G-Skill's losses ironically came with me on G-Skill against Thunder. I think it's 2-2. There could be another game or two I'm not remembering, but I want to say historically 2-2. For Thunder, the lineup for this week is going to be, because we're missing multiple guys as always, Tox, me, Jules, Brian, John Gale, and J-Rod will be our sixth because Ryan can't show up, Hudson can't show up, Brad can't show up. We can't get anybody else online. This is the Thunder way. And then for G-Skill, I'm assuming it will be, the main six, the land six, Taylor, Milo, Andrew, Chuck, Frank, and Colin. Good luck, have fun. We all know how much I love G-Skill, former team of mine, all friends of mine, making their land movie, which I look forward to getting home and being able to work on. A fucking tough match to draw ever. Hopefully I can play well to at least make this interesting. I wish we were going to have our main six so we could really make it interesting. You definitely, the week you don't want to be missing starters is the week against G-Skill. If you're going to be missing them, that's not the time that you want to be missing them. But it is what it is. I don't think it would have mattered when we played. We probably would have been missing at least one person, if not multiple. That's just the way it goes with this fucking Thunder team. It's going to give me hemorrhoids before all is said and done. But yeah, Anzio, it's a good map for us. Maybe not as good with no Ryan Emo. I think Hudson would have been really nice to have, especially because he is very good on Anzio. He's just a turret. This guy only wants to play Anzio. And I'm already annoyed that we're 3 weeks in and Hudson will have not played at all. It's almost like I called that shit happening and tried to have, an extra reliable backup or two added to the mix. Shocking, Corey. It's almost like you know what to expect from your team. But yeah, this should be a good game, I'm hoping that we don't just get blown out and this is like a joke of a game, because that has happened in the G-Skill Thunder rivalry on Anzio over the years. Specifically, I remember a game where both Ryan and I had 190 ping. There's an HLTV of it that still exists too. I've got it at home. But we both had 190, 200 ping, and G-Skill beat us by 350 points. Hopefully this is not a replay of that, because it would be very unfortunate when you get the G-Skill Thunder matchup and it's just a goddamn blowout. But, that kind of would also be cool for the whole division, right? I want to see this division be no one clearly runs away with it. And from a record standpoint, if you have we lose to go to 2-1, G-Skill's 2-1, and then if you have Icy Hot beat Dice and they go to 2-1 and Dice goes to 2-1, that's 4 2-1 teams who all beat each other in different ways at that point, right? Well, we will not have played Dice yet, I guess, at that point. But yeah, very, very fun matchup always, Thunder versus G-Skill. Old rivalry. Maybe the oldest one in DOD now. We got to see it at the LAN, which was fun. And yeah, good luck, have fun to G-Skill. We play Sunday night, 9:15 in that area. Whenever our six gets online. All right, on to the next one. Boop, 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 boop. Over versus Soul. So for Soul, lineup-wise, last week, it was Blackhawk, The Bear, Booten, Stamp, PB. I'm assuming Jackson is back this week, right? And then it's Blackhawk, The Bear, Jackson, Jared, Justin, Shreddies. I'm assuming that that's the six. They have a lot, I mostly don't think that Austin will be playing because I know he's not super available. It seems like Luke not super available, but I hope he does get available. He's so good. On the over side, we've seen them send out the God Squad multiple weeks in a row here. Kum. Oh, wait, actually, they were missing somebody last week. They're missing Devin, which is a huge guy to not have there. Kum, Caffrey, Saka, SC, Nightmare, or Patton. Either way, it doesn't matter. And Devin, 2 best snipers here, just ever. So fucking good, it doesn't matter who's in there. It's Anzio. They're both insane at it. You never know with over what the lineup's going to look like, though. Availability's always 50-50 for them. We saw Jizzy play last week as well. We obviously know Mata's always going to be around. Map like Anzio here, over good at Anzio. For Soul, with the heavies, they're going to need to be very on point with not letting Caffrey and SC get a bunch of space, right? Because they're both very good at finding space on this map and making you pay for it in both halves. Gonna have to be a concerted effort on the Plaza side to not let that happen. Craig is a great double windows car. He'll be able to help with that, I think, a lot. But yeah, really, those three guys need to be very wary of SC and Caffrey slipping the net, finding themselves in Sundial on Allies or Laundry or Rope or whatever on Axis, because they will find their way there. And then the bridge team, man, like Over's bridge team with Kum and Sokka and Devin, well, I guess, and the sniper on Axis. But all three Garans on the Allied side mostly. Scary bridge team. We've seen that bridge team just grind out every team they play against on Anzio. They're so fucking good on bridge. Their Allied side, they have like no wasted moves, man. They're so good over there. A big task for on the Axis side, Shreddies, Justin, and Cam. They're gonna have to lock shit down over there as well as they can, because you can't let Over get into a groove on Allied side bridge. They will just be like filtering guys, filtering the sniper up on a bridge, a guy in the crack, a guy through meat, a guy through barbershop, a guy up. Like, it'll just be, you'll never be able to kill all of them before another wave of them is back. In that instance, again, it just makes Street all the more important, because you need to at least cut off one avenue in that regard on your Axis side. Like, you need to try to hang on to Street. A good team like Over will take advantage of it if you don't. And obviously, whichever sniper they have, Cam gonna have his hands full, gonna have to try to deal with a Nick or a Nightmare, and both of whom are legendary on this map. It's a lot. It's doable for Soul, certainly. It's a tough map to draw over on. It's one of the toughest ones, like Lennon, Anzio, Harrington, maybe even Armory, all the kind of like the toughest maps, I think, to get over on. Soul's got the guys to be able to match up with them this week. I think Over, that first week against G-Skill coming so close to beating them, then looking so good to start off against Dice. I feel like they're due for a win here. They just gotta, hit their stride. They are too talented a team to just not win games. Like last season, it looked like they were going to be in the finals for the majority of that season. They even beat G-Skill last season on fucking Halley. But yeah, it's. I think this is a close one. It's just a matter of who's dealing. It's like not for I can't say the Allied side bridge. It's really that half when Over is on Allies. Soul cannot let them get into a groove on their Allied side of bridge, and Street needs to be really fucking top of the list here, because those heavies are going to frustrate you. They will not stop fucking trying to push in and trying to get up in your shit and push towards your spawn, and you gotta have somebody ready and able to deal with it at all times. Otherwise, that is where Over can win ends up winning this game. That whole area there of the bridge, meat locker, street, short, whatever area. So I say Over here, but I think this is another one that's a lot closer. Really, it also could just come down to like who can show for both teams, right? You never know with lineups. When teams are missing guys, it can throw everything into disarray. Soul will understand the game plan for sure. Now it's just a matter of executing it, and if Over are all coming out flying in this game, that also might be insurmountable at times, because they're just all so good at the game and aggressive, and that is the toughest shit to play against when a team is just running at you and not missing. Like, what are you supposed to do? Not peek them and just let them cap out, Like, it's a lot to fucking deal with when Over is clicking. We'll see. We'll see if Soul Skaters can execute the game plan and keep Over locked out of getting their flow, or if Over are going to get on the win column this week. I lean towards Over, but again, I think this will be a good one. Last but not least, Dice versus Icy Hot here. A rematch of maybe the craziest LAN game of all time. The semifinals of World Series of DoD, the best of 3 that went all 3 maps. All the games were basically one cap out. Absolutely fucking legendary game. And this is also a rematch of one of those games. Anzio in that series, picked by Icy Hot, won by Dice. Very, very close game. For Icy Hot, most likely Jesse, William, Sean, Justin, Ben, and Chi. I think Mitch said that he's going to be back around to play in the next couple of weeks here. At some point soon. So then we could see things start to change up. I don't know if Casey's really available or not. Obviously, that's always nice for Icy Hot to be able to have Casey in there, and obviously T as a backup to be able to slide into any role. And then on the Dice side, the LAN 6, we all know who it's going to be. Kevin, Matt, Paul, Alex, Johnny, Chris. This is, this is a tough fucking call, man. I don't know. You can look at the LAN and say, well, Dice won on Anzio at that LAN, right? That was just a crazy fucking game, though. Like, that's another one of those games where if you play that game 100 times, like, you're probably going to see fucking 92 different results. Where it's just like, oh, well, one time Dice wins by 40 points. One time Icy Hot wins by 3 points. One time Dice wins by 180 points. One time Icy Hot wins by 120 points. Like, that game was not just like a clear, this team on this map just is that much better than this team on this map. Like, it was just, that's why you play it out, right? That's why the matches get played. That game was nuts. We saw a lot for Dice of it. The most important thing being their rotations around the map. It was a pretty tough puzzle for Icy Hot to solve on their Axis side. Dice was just always finding a way to be there for the breaks, always finding a way to have guys where they needed them, finding the multi-frags when they needed to. They did something a little bit interesting with the roster makeup, where Paul did heavy here. He rifled. He had the Garand, and that paid off a lot. Johnny was on the heavies. We'll see if they do that again. Obviously, we know sniper-wise, Ben and Kevin going to be a barn burner of a sniper matchup. No surprise there at all. Jesse and Justin up against whether it's Chris and Paul or Chris and Johnny. Like, that's going to be button heads all over the place in Plaza. We saw Dice with a good understanding on Allied side of when they can push, how they can push, when they need to stop and wait and let them come to them. The bridge side of things, Dice, when they get position on bridge on Allied side, really tough to deal with because you get Kevin up on that bridge spot that's like really fucking I don't even mean the main bridge spot that every sniper goes to. I'm talking about the one where he's on that ledge from behind and like you can't really see him, but he can't really see you either until like you both get to a certain point. Really tough to deal with that spot if you don't know what you're looking for. And Dice really, really good at supporting one another all throughout the map, allowing each other to take the pushes that they want to push and not feel like, well, if I go die here, the whole map is lost. Which is, I think, the biggest thing about their game that makes them so fucking good. It allows so much space for all their players to be able to shine when they have an opportunity to shine. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I don't know. A little bit different, obviously. This is not exactly the LAN matchup. Chi going to be in for Vertex. I don't know what that's going to mean class and route-wise. Like, does that mean that you put Sean on the car and double windows? Do you send Chi on the car double windows? Do you send William on the car double windows? I think you can do any of the above. You got to make sure that you have bridge pretty well fortified on Axis side, because like I said, Dice will take advantage of getting that area of the map, and they will turn it into full map control. The Axis, or the bridge is Axis-sided, generally speaking, and Icy Hot need to really make sure that they keep it that way as much as humanly possible, which they did. It's not like they didn't. It's just when it happened, Dice took really good advantage of that. Man, fuck if I know on this one, dude. I don't know. I guess we'll do a Zin flip. We'll say heads is Icy Hot, tails is Dice. It's always fucking heads with this thing. I need to, like, flip this thing a bunch of times and see if it ever lands tails. Okay, that time it landed tails. That time it landed on the side. It literally landed on the side, so... well, the Zin Flip says Icy Hot. We'll go with the Zin Flip. This is going to be probably a single-digit game in either direction here. For the craziness that could come in the division, right? If you have Dice, Icy Hot, Thunder, G-Skill all be 2-1, that makes it interesting, right? For Icy Hot to win. Or you could see Dice coming out of this week all alone at the top, undefeated after 3 weeks, which would definitely not surprise me. It might surprise other people, but I would not be at all surprised to see Dice just continuing on that upward trajectory that I've been talking about with them since Season 6. So, the Zin says Icy Hot, so I'll say Icy Hot by 15 points or something. But this is the match of the week, right? It's already like the match of the fucking decade or whatever. Maybe one of the matches of all time in DoD history. So... pretty easy match of the week pick, especially because I can't cast G-Skill versus Thunder anyway, so, you know. All right, ended up just over 2 hours, so we're settling in on how long the Dodcasts are this season. Looks like it's about 2 hours, so no matter how many teams there are, that's how much I talk. Please submit to the Frag of the Week for War Within. I know I'm a hypocrite because I didn't submit, but that was not my fault. I forgot that I needed to send the demos to myself to have them in Canada. That's on me. And yeah, good luck, have fun, everybody, this week. Good luck, have fun, G-Skill in our game. And I can't wait to see the Dice versus Icy Hot game, man. Ooh, lots of DoD coming up this week. Get your butts ready and hang on to them. DoD Anzio.